Hi all. So here's my project. This runner here is really loose. So I guess I'm gonna try to repair it. You see I got a string tied on it so it don't break. Okay, so here's the runner from the underside, and there's these things here. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and they're bolted right out of the side here. So the only thing that really looks bad here is this first one. It's all rusted out right here. So maybe I can just do something with that and not even bother with these here. Or just do these two here. Okay, so that's the project. I can't tell how they're bolted on here. Oh, there's one bolt here, one bolt here. Same thing here. One here and one here. Hi all. So I got a project. I figured I'd video it. This running board here, this step, it's all rusty back behind here. See, this is really loose. So I got a rope tied on there. And then the rope is tied on there, so in case it breaks. But I figured I'd try to repair it. I got up in there the other day, and in the back there, it's rusty. There's a big hole. So there's 4 mounts. 1, 2, 3, 4. The back 2 look real good. There's no problem back there. The one in the front, it looks like the mounts are fine. It's the metal that the mounts are connected to. So I think I'm going to do the metal behind the first 2 mounts. I think it's a little rusty back here too. Okay, so this is the first mount. See that string is right there. Here's the first mount. You can see there's a big hole here. There's the hole. I guess this mount doesn't look that bad. Maybe I won't mess with that one. Okay, there's only 2 bolts here. 1, 2. So I was going to try to grind those out with the grinder. But maybe I'll try a socket set first, see how that goes. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, it's pretty rusty up under here. I'm going to take it and get it sprayed with fluid film here in a couple weeks. I got this project, and then I got to fix the wiring in the back for the lights. The spotlights that go out the back, and then I'll get it sprayed. So here's the back mount. That looks pretty good. that mount's a lot bigger. Look at that. Compared to that one. Huh. 3 bolts in this one. 1, 2, 3. Just 2 bolts in this one. That metal looks pretty good there. Well, we'll see how easy these bolts come out. I got a 24-inch piece of metal that I'm just going to bolt back in there. Oh man. If I had a welder, I'd weld it, but I don't know if there's enough metal there to weld anything to. I don't know nothing about that, so I'm just gonna bolt a piece of sheet metal on there, and then I'll bolt these back on. Okay, see ya. Okay, so I was able to use a socket to get that out of there. I just 1 or 2 turns and it just broke right off. So I thought maybe I'd use a grinder, but I couldn't get that in there without destroying the mount, I don't think. So this one's all rusted out, so I don't have to worry about that one. Oh man, these are mounted. These are permanent. I thought maybe I could take these off. Oh shoot. Okay, I'm gonna have to work around it. Okay. Okay, so same thing with the top bolt. I just put the socket on it. Couple turns, it broke. In case you're interested, it's a 1/2-inch socket. Okay. I was hoping this would come off down here. I could be able to work here, but I guess I just gotta look around it here. What's this? Buy a used truck, save some money. Oh man. Floor seems pretty solid here. This must be screwed on here somehow. I don't see any bolts. Let's see. No, I don't know what's going on there. Must have just fell down in there somehow. Fun. the snowplow. Make some money. If we don't break it, that's stuck right on there somehow. That's the outside of the truck there. What a mess. Okay, so let me get this cleaned up and I'll get back to you. Check out that pile of rust. That's what you get when you buy a used truck. Okay, so here it is cleaned up. This is where the second one goes. It broke off. I don't know if it was cracked or if I cracked it pulling on it. And then here's the first one. I figured I'd take the second one off since it was cracked, plus I figured it was rusty, and I was right. There's a big hole behind it. So I bought a piece of 24-inch sheet metal that'll cover the whole space. And then these two things will anchor onto the sheet metal. This here, it looks like there's enough that I can probably get a couple screws in there or something. So it can have something to anchor it to. Even with just the one, I think it would be enough. So let's see how it goes. Okay, I'm gonna. I sanded it down a little bit with a wire brush here. Now I'm gonna spray it with rust reformer paint. Walmart in the auto section. Here's the one mount that broke. Let's see, this will be the bottom. So I suppose I can get one bolt into here. So I think it'll be fine without it though. And then here's the piece of metal that I'm going to put in there. See, I planned on taking both mounts out. One will go there and one will go here. So I'm going to spray it with rust reformer. Doesn't have to be perfect, just to help prevent it from rusting too fast. Okay, so next step is bolting this on the truck and then bolting these through here. Okay, so here's the passenger side, and it's pretty rusty too. You see the big hole right there. It doesn't seem as loose. I think because the second one's still pretty solid. See, this one's not rusted out yet. So I cleaned it up a little bit. And now I'm going to spray it with some rust reformer, slow it down. Maybe I'll do this one later on. Back do look good. It's just those front ones. Okay. Okay. And now I'm going to see if I can get this piece of metal bolted on here somehow. Okay, so it fits. Just getting to the back to get the nuts on is going to be tough.
Tell them what you're doing.
Yeah.
Washer right here.
Huh?
One washer fell off there.
Okay, so this is going to get bolted on the underside of the truck. Like that. I couldn't get in and put the nuts on from the back. So what I did was I put that on and then I drilled the holes. 4 holes up along top to hold the plate on. And then these 2 bolts go for the front brace. These 2 bolts go for the back brace. And what I did to hold the bolts in, I Gorilla caulked these on. And same with the other ones, so they won't bounce around while I'm trying to put the plate on. And what I'm going to do is Gorilla caulk the whole thing, because this stuff is really strong too. So between the 4 bolts here, and then I'll probably just put a couple of screws in where I can. Drill small holes and put some self-tapping screws in, just to give it a little extra strength because it's so rusty. Okay, so that's the next step, is trying to get this plate on and line up these 4 holes without knocking out the screws. And how I'm going to anchor that, I don't know yet. I'll probably just one screw here, a bunch of Gorilla caulk around it or something. I don't know. I don't know yet. Maybe a metal bracket, an L bracket maybe or something. Okay. Okay, so here's the 4 bolts. I got to try to get that plate up in there and line those up with the holes. I'm going to spread Gorilla caulk all over here. So I can probably get a couple more screws in here. Okay. Okay, so there's the Gorilla Cock. Lots of these are empty spots here, so I can't put nothing in there. Okay, so I'm more or less done with this step. Instead of rope, I put a chain on here. I really didn't need that because it's pretty sturdy, but I put it on just in case. This is just stainless chain from Lowe's, and I just happened to find a hole here. There's a hole in the frame right back in here, so I didn't have to drill a hole. I just put a 1-inch bolt, galvanized bolt. Let's see if I can find it. Oh. So right back behind the door here, there was a hole in the fender from the factory. So I just put a 1-inch galvanized bolt, put the chain on there, so I didn't have to drill a hole. I went with the chain this time because the rope was kind of spongy. So no matter how tight you tied it, whenever you stepped on the step, it would still bounce up and down. Okay, so I got 2 L brackets on it, one here, one here. The 2 back braces were in pretty good shape, so I wasn't worried about the rear end. This here, I filled this up with Bondo, but I don't think that was necessary. I just got carried away. Put a couple screws in there so it wouldn't bounce. Okay, so the main thing was that piece of sheet metal that I put in there. It probably would have been a better idea if I found somebody to weld it in there, but some of the metal was pretty rusty. I don't know if they would have been able to weld it. So that worked pretty good. I think I should have got a thicker piece of metal, because it seemed when I stepped on the runner, that metal would bend. You know, it would wobble just a little bit. Okay, so most of it I showed you. The brace here, I just had to bolt that onto the piece of sheet metal. It was a little tricky. I had to put the bolts on from the back, and the nuts are up here. And then I just used Gorilla Caulk construction adhesive and just caulked everything up so it wouldn't rattle loose. This brace worked out good here because it went flat here, and then it went on the flat part of the runner. So that probably would have been enough in itself. So 2 bolts up here. So 2 bolts up here, 2 bolts went in here. This one here, if you go back to the first part of the video, first time I checked it out, this brace was already cracked. So I put some braces on the side, and then I just caulked everything up. I used the whole tube of Gorilla Caulk on there. That stuff's really strong, so I just didn't feel like having to come out here and do this again. Here's the second brace. I had to knock out a little bit of this this hole here. It was real rusty. It came right out. So I got 1 bolt, 2 bolt. I got 3 bolts here. Then 2 bolts in the bottom. This was a big black brace from Tractor Supply, and I cut about 2 inches off the bottom. Something else I did, I got up in there and I squirted 2 whole cans of that foam insulation. I figured this beam here, there's like a beam there, it's it's real thin because it's rusty. So I filled it up with foam here and foam down there, and I put it back here too. I figured it might help strengthen it up. I had stuck a couple boards in there too, some treated boards. I stuck them up from here because that beam, there was no metal on the bottom part of the beam, so it was just wobbly. So you can see part of the board here. I probably should fill that up with Bondo. Okay, so I'm not quite done. I just noticed that now. I'll have to stick some Bondo in there. I'll put some Bondo along the whole top edge here, seal it up. You can tell here I shoved a bunch of Bondo back there too. I figured that every little bit helps, you know, if it helps take the pressure off. You know, the main thing is this piece of metal, this sheet metal is bolted to the frame. 4 bolts at the top. 1, 2, 3. I thought there was another one. Maybe I couldn't get the 4th one in. Oh, here's the 4th one here. It didn't line up right, so I just said to hell with it. So there's only 3 bolts there, holding that sheet metal in there. But there's 2 bolts here. They're like 3-4 inches long. They go all the way through. And then same with these. These go all the way through to the other side. And then these 2 go all the way through too. Because I couldn't get back in there, you know, so I had to drill all the way through the beam and put long bolts in. So I'm not sure how many I got through there. Hey Tommy, what you doing, Tommy? He said, what you doing under here? Okay, so here's 2 of those bolts. They come from the other side. So they're also holding that piece of sheet metal on. And then here's 3 bolts from the brace, that big black brace. 1, 2, and then there's a 3rd one down below here. This one's a long one. This one's about 3 inches. The one down here is only about 1 inch or so. And then there's another bolt that's in the front. Goes all the way through and holds that piece of sheet metal on. So from this angle, I can see my mess now. I couldn't see it before. I think I can put some more Bondo in there. Flatten that out a little bit. Seal it up. I was just kind of guessing at that when I did it. And then I'll just spray it all black. Okay, so it's definitely a Jimmy rig job. You see, if I step up here and bounce, the whole truck moves. The runner don't move at all. See, the truck's moving. Okay, so it's pretty sturdy. I don't have to worry about it giving out. Okay, so here's the completed job, all sprayed. Sprayed it with that rust reformer. That's the first hanger. That's the second hanger. Here's that big black brace. So don't look so bad after it's all sprayed black. Okay, so thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.